Guys, there's so many things that's going on in this country, in the United States. In recent events with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, just so many things that's going on. It's so disheartening to see it. To know that there's really not a reason. Anything can happen to a person who is deemed to be a minority, a person of color. We're seeing a lot of things being done to people of color simply by the broadness of my nose, the thickness of my lips, the brownness of my skin, the brownness of my loved one's skin. We can be targeted. You know, I want to share some things with you guys. I've retired from the United States Army. And these are one of the few things that they've given to us. Retiring. One of which is this flag. We receive one. Retired, right? Soldier for life. In addition to that, received many awards, medals for services. Men and women in uniform are being deployed and sent all over. This is a distinguished award I received for the Medical Corps. This, of course, is also my award, my MSM award that I received for my service. Am I to walk around with this medal on me? Am I to walk around with this award on me? Should I hand it to my children if they're just going to the store? So that maybe nothing will happen to them. And we know that's not going to make a difference because a lot of these things that have taken place, many victims were a part of the armed forces. People who have been deployed came back and just got killed here on American soil. You know, one of the things I remember, even as soldiers, and I'm sure anyone who's given a weapon and a badge and a uniform, whether you're armed forces, civil service, there are rules of engagement. There are rules of engagement, and the first thing is not to shoot to kill or to use excessive force. You know, when the Geneva Convention and all those things were brought into place, there were so many things that we learned, that things you could not even and should not be doing, even to those who had killed your comrades. And yet we find that those that we're supposed to trust in uniform appears to be reckless, brutal, and it is of such that even if they're being publicly viewed, they're being viewed by the public, and it's on camera. It doesn't matter. And what that indicated to me is that on a higher level, they have been given the security to do this, that nothing is going to happen. The question I ask and I wonder is, what are we sending people over across the oceans for, when we're sending people's husbands, wives, children in uniform and deploying them to different parts of the world. What is that about? There's a reason we are told that it's necessary to enter into another country and a space and the greater cause, which is for the greater good of humanity and doing things right and setting things right and ending terrorism here and there. But then, and they die and they spill their blood, but then we come back home and it's going on right here. Because my brothers and sisters, fellow Americans, that's what we're seeing happening. And the thing about it is, other nations are watching. Other nations are looking at the nation that is supposed to be the greatest nation on earth, the superpower. They're watching. They're seeing it. Are we now living as a don't do as I do as I say? Are we totalitarian? Are we a dictatorship? I'm thankful for a lot of the things that I've received being in the United States and my life. But now I find that just simply going outside could be problematic, and then not even going outside because we have heard of people that their doors were broken down and they were killed in their home. And an excuse was made. You see the elderly being beaten and choked and handled poorly. Yet in another setting, we can see armed protesters enter, I believe it was at Kentucky, the state capitol, armed, and nothing happens. America, the world is watching. The world is watching. The world is watching how we engage and how we do things. The world is watching how we handle people. The double standards. They're seeing the bloodshed in this country. And the thing that I have to say is, what are we sending our children across the seas for? All the people that died, what was it about? Because the reasons we are told that we were sent there, they were sent there, the reason why we're told it was necessary, why a mother would have to receive a flag at a memorial for her children, the reason why in my career, watching people being brought into the Landstuhl facility with limbs missing, the reason we're told these things were necessary, why a husband or a wife received their family members in a casket draped in the red, white, and blue, is to stop. And the cause was for the betterment of others who are being oppressed in certain countries. And to stop the very thing that we're seeing being done here on a daily basis in this country. And in face of being scrutinized by other nations, there's not going to be room to just say, do as I do, or do as I say and not as I do. Something greater is going to open up a can of worms that's going to be outside of the United States, outside of these protests that you see. There's a bigger giant that you will have to fight. I shouldn't have to fear for my life just by going outside. I certainly should not have to put on a shirt to say I serve, because it doesn't matter, does it? It's time for change. It's time for change.